Hey guys, Brian Hilliard here, author of the best-selling book, Networking Like a Pro, and creator of the popular program, How to Expand Your Reach, Impact More Lives, and Get Your Message Out to a Wider Audience. Now, I am fired up here today because we are going to talk about the number one thing that you need to keep in mind when it comes to being successful during the enrollment conversation. Because I don't know about you, but this was something that I struggled with early on. You know, I was going out and I was talking to people, and we were having like really good conversations. You know, we would be talking and engaging and everybody was happy, and then the money part came up and you could kind of feel things just kind of slow down. You know, I would be talking to him, so before it would be like a nice free-flowing conversation back and forth, then we get to the money part and I was uncomfortable, the conversation was a little awkward, you could tell that they were uncomfortable, and it just really didn't get me to a place where I want to be. You know, more times than not, the person didn't sign on, or if they did, I wasn't getting paid what I was worth. I had to cut my prices down a little bit, and I was just like, geez, what is it that I need to be able to do in order to be able to obviously ask for the business, but do so in a way that wasn't pushy, salesy, or otherwise over the top? Because make no mistake, the mortgage does not pay for itself. So if you're going to go out and talk with people about your services, you need to ask for the business, but you need to be able to do so in a way that is authentic to you and comfortable for them. And this is what we're going to talk about here right now. One of the things that you can do in order to be more successful during that enrollment conversation. And quite simply, it is this. You have to make sure that they actually have a desire to want to make some changes. All right, so let me kind of unpack that a little bit. If you've been listening to some of my stuff in the past, maybe you've seen me speak or whatever, we've got a podcast on brand and grow your coaching practice. One of the things I talk about is this concept of you have to make sure that a person has a need first, then a desire, and then from there you can make the money part work. I say that a lot of people, where we get into trouble is we'll go and we'll talk to somebody like as a coach, and we'll be like, oh, they have a high need, right? We're a life coach and they have a high need to, you know, get a more peaceful life. I can help them with that. And we skip the desire part and we go straight into, well, here's what our coaching services cost. Here's what the investment looks like. And then we get some hemming and hawing, and then we reduce our price. And then we come back and they're like, I need to think about it. Then we're chasing them around. You've had these problems, I know. I certainly have. I can speak for myself as well as others. Okay? One of the reasons, is because we start off with the need and we go straight to the money. But what we need to do is start off with the need and then quickly get to the desire. Okay, Brian, unpack that for me. Fine. So here's how this would look like. If I'm talking with somebody, a prospective client, and I'll be like, oh, so I obviously talk about expanding their reach and impacting more lives. So I'll be like, listen, what is it that you're trying to do? They're like, listen, Brian, I saw your article on Facebook, and I know one of the things you mentioned in terms of getting out to a wider audience was this idea of creating a crystal clear message. And I just wanted to talk with you about that. I'm like, no problem. So we talk a little bit about that. And then what I do, so that's the need. I know they have a need, right? So we've got that established. And people will tell you that pretty early on. Then, though, you got to get off of need and you got to get to desire. So what I'll ask, not right away, but what I'll ask like later on, a little bit into it, is, hey, listen, what have you done to address this? Like, what have you done to move forward in this area? And they might tell you, I've done some coaching with it, but it just didn't help me as much. Or I've read a book and I didn't quite get it. Or I haven't done anything. Like, none of those are wrong answers. Okay, let's say they say they've done some coaching already. You say, all right, well, what did you like about it? What would you like to see differently? Okay, so you're getting a feel for how they've reacted to change. Well, you know what, Brian? I haven't done anything in this area. My life is all over the place. Back to the life coach. My life is all over the place, and I haven't done anything yet. Okay, well, what's holding you back? What we're doing is we're trying to get our arms around their desire, their appetite for making adjustments. One of the things I talk about, I saw this on a post on LinkedIn about 7 or 8 months ago, talking about the comfort zone, the fear zone, and the growth zone, all right? And what happens is people start with their comfort zone, and then they have to go through the fear zone in order to get to the growth zone. right? And a lot of times what happens is people, before that, they got to get through that fear zone themselves. You can't help them with that. They need to do that themselves. But a lot of times what happens is people will turn around. They'll be like, oh, this is too hard and I don't really want to do it. What we're doing, we're calling it desire. What we're doing is we're seeing what their appetite is, what their desire is to go from an area that they don't want to be in through this other area, and then ultimately coming back to paying you some money and investing in themselves to do so. I hope I'm making sense with this, all right? So what you want to do, we're talking about the number one thing to help you be successful when you're talking about the enrollment conversation. You absolutely have to be able to first get the need. Most people get that right off the bat, but then quickly jump into what's their desire for change. Ask them questions like, have you worked with a coach before? What was your experience? What would you like to do differently? Why haven't you done this before? What's your game plan for moving forward? You know, you're telling me that you feel like your life is all over the place. You're telling me that you haven't worked with a coach. You're telling me that you haven't done any resources at all. What would it take to make you feel like that's a good idea? You see where I'm going with this? Ask questions relating to their desire, and I am telling you, from there, assuming that they have the desire and the need, then you can absolutely make the money part work, and that, my friends, will absolutely help you during the money conversation, because you won't be feeling like you have to change your rates or chasing people around or any of that other stuff. You'll just be talking a little bit about what the money looks like for something that they've already told you they needed and already told you they have a desire to do. And now we're just making this work in the middle, all right? But as always, feel free to like, share, or comment below. I answer all of those comments directly and personally myself, so if you have anything you'd like to say, I would love to hear from you. But in the meantime, my name is Brian Hilliard, saying so long, take care, and thanks so much for your time.